Okay, this is game 4 of the Sandwich Muffin Gaming Fight Club Platinum League Championship match. We have had a very interesting series so far between Jtek and LukeG, with Jtek currently leading 2 games to 1 in this best of 7. Last game, I gotta say, was incredibly surprising for me, as I criticized Luke's lack of medevacs throughout the game, his lack of stim. Um, Jtek managed to take pretty great map control in the middle of the daybreak and teched up to Brood Lords and had a pretty scary looking army. But behind that, Luke was able to take out his third base and his fourth base without receiving much resistance at all, and surprisingly held off Jtek's Mutiling Bling Broodlord aggression, and before I knew it, was up double supply and forced a GG without actually doing much besides just holding off that attack. It was actually quite incredible. I was I'm without words. It was crazy. So surprised. I was explaining how it was a sad day to be Terran. This was GG. It was 3 games to 0 now for Jtek, and the next thing I know, it just was completely flipped on me. It's absolutely crazy. So once again, the introductions for this in the, I guess, the 12 o'clock position of GSL Metropolis, we have the Yellow Terran down 2 games to 1, SMGLukeG. And in the 9 o'clock position, we have the Green Zerg up 2-1, SMGJtek. I really wish I had a co-caster. This is actually I've never really casted any games, especially not live games, until today, so this is probably pretty horrible, and I'm not really one for, speech. So, apologize if this is as awkward as it feels. So Jtek going for the hatchery first, as we've seen for the last 3 games. Luke throwing down, walling in once again and grabbing his early refinery. Now this is a map that I don't think either player has played all that much. By my understanding, it's somewhat Zerg favored, considering the size of it and how open a lot of the space is in the middle. Luke's still talking trash to his opponent. I'm a mail-in rebate for the face. Strange. Very strange. Orbital Command's now down for Luke and calls in the Mule for that economy boost. Marine's starting to pop out now, and he's been mining gas for quite some time, so we'll see shortly what that's all about. In the past 2 games, it's been first for early Ravens and also for early Banshees. So some very different builds coming out of Luke. And I have to say that the Mutiling Bling Broodlord was a little different from Jtek as well. It's not a composition you see all that much. So Luke now going for the reactored Hellions by the look of it again. A weird way to open with this build, in my opinion. As I've said before, I like to see an early command center, 2 gas, and then the factory. I think that's a little more standard. And it looks like Luke is going to sacrifice his SCV once again. I would hate to be an SCV working for Luke, as they tend to die quite frequently, especially the scouting SCV. Going to the Zelnaga Tower to meet his fate. Overlord poking in for Luke into Luke's base from the side, and now we have the factory and the barracks switching, so we're going to see reactored Hellions coming out. Strangely enough, Luke banking close to 1,000 minerals once again, and not opting to take a starport to back these Hellions up at all. Tech Lab going down on the barracks now, and only 1 worker mining gas. So there's going to be a delayed expansion behind this Hellion harassment potentially. Jtek now putting up the wall like he likes to do. So in the last game, surprisingly, we saw the Hellions actually be able to sneak through the wall, but then target fire a queen and not actually deal the economic damage that they were intended to. So hopefully that's something that Luke can fix this time around. Hellion now moving out of the base to meet up with his pals. And, you know, Luke taking a little bit of map control at this point, as expected with Hellions this early in the game. And I think Jtek has seen that, and he's going to respond with Roaches, which pretty much negate the presence of Hellions at all, which is why I would like to see Luke have Banshees come out. And the reactor, or sorry, the starport is going down now, along with another barracks, so this should be an interesting unit composition once again from Luke. Can't even begin to predict it, and these Hellions are actually not going to be able to do a whole heck of a lot with this wall in place. They may be able to sneak around, and that's what they're going to actually try and do, so this is very interesting. Hopefully they can deal enough economic damage to make this worthwhile. Definitely at least one drone going down, and now they're making their way up the ramp and into the main. And they're going... Oh, and here comes the barbecue, but Roach is actually out now, and quite a good number of queens as well, so they're going to be able to clean this up. But let's see exactly what was lost here. 21 units lost for Jtek, so that actually did a good amount of damage, so I think that was... Yeah, there's actually a very low worker count now for Jtek, so that was quite an efficient barbecue for Luke. Now Jtek has a good number of roaches on the map, so I don't think that's going to be happening again. But Luke, thankfully, is opting for double reactored barracks. So that's strange. There's not going to be any stim pack anytime soon. There's not going to be any marauders anytime soon, which are particularly effective for dealing with roaches. So I'm not sure that the Marine Hellion combination is going to be able to effectively deal with these roaches, which I thought were poking out, but now seem to be returning to home base. Jtek now droning hard and is actually caught up quite quickly. 24 drones to 29 SCVs for Luke, and in my opinion, Jtek also has a superior army. So unfortunately, any kind of advantage Luke had gained from that Hellion harass is being quickly negated, as Jtek is now up on workers, and I guess army supply is relatively even. We can even check that out. Army, yeah. So Jtek ahead on army and ahead on workers. Double engineering bay down for Luke. No upgrades coming from that. And a third now going down for Jtek. So Jtek is actually pulling ahead in every possible way, and even his unit composition is a little superior. Although this tank could actually could make up for that. We'll see how that works out. It's just going to be a matter of getting siege in the proper position at the right time. So that third base getting closer and closer to being up and running. If we check the worker count, Jtek up 41 to 37. Hasn't been producing too much of his army, as he's still sitting on 12 roaches, and Luke seems to be, you know, building up a good amount of Marines, and is actually going to start elevating siege tanks and Marines into Jtek's main, so this is quite interesting. I'm not sure that Jtek has anything to deal with this at this point, although more roaches are coming out. But the siege tanks are in a really good position, and Jtek just GG's out, bringing the series up to 2-2, just like that. Wow, 2 surprising victories from Luke, actually just even this series right up. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. This is going to turn out to be a great series.